Most people see birthdays as must-celebrate milestones, but the psychology of people who don't celebrate their birthdays reveals a hidden world, where forgotten childhoods, relentless busyness, or deep beliefs quietly erase the party. 30% walk away from the cake, not because they don't care, but because somewhere along the line, it hurt to hope. So what really drives someone to let their birthday slip by unnoticed? Sometimes it starts with a single birthday, maybe 7 years old, maybe 9, when the cake never came or the voices never sang. The day passes and no one seems to notice. A diary entry, written in uneven pencil, says, "Everyone forgot, I pretended not to care." For some, this isn't just 1 year, but a pattern. Promises made and quietly broken. Parties planned and quietly canceled. Over time, hope begins to shrink. Martin Seligman's research in 1967 gave this a name: learned helplessness. When disappointment repeats, the mind learns not to expect joy at all. In a recent study from the University of Toronto, nearly 29% of adults who avoid birthdays trace it back to these early letdowns. Not celebrating isn't about indifference, it's a shield. By caring less, you hurt less. What looks like apathy is really self-protection, a quiet decision to stop hoping for what never arrived. Some people don't avoid birthdays because of pain, they simply lose track of them. In a world of endless notifications and back-to-back deadlines, it's easy to forget your own milestones. The mind becomes crowded with meetings, emails, and late-night scrolling until days blur together. According to the American Psychological Association in 2019, digital overload and constant multitasking disrupt the brain's sense of time. Birthdays slip by, not out of indifference, but because the calendar feels like a conveyor belt. One professional describes working late, glancing at a phone, and realizing the day is already over. No message, no cake, just another unchecked task. This isn't apathy, it's the side effect of a life lived in fast forward. The year speeds by, and by the time you notice, the moment is gone. In this kind of world, birthdays fade quietly into the background, crowded out by everything else demanding your attention. For millions, skipping a birthday isn't about disappointment or distraction, it's a matter of faith. Jehovah's Witnesses, for example, number over 8.7 million worldwide. In their doctrine, birthdays are quietly set aside, not out of sadness, but as an act of humility. The logic is simple. Life's milestones belong to God, not to the self. In congregation literature and weekly meetings, the message is clear. Celebrating oneself draws attention away from spiritual purpose. One member recalls circling a date in their Bible study workbook, not for a party, but as a reminder to focus on gratitude and service. Scriptural passages like Ecclesiastes 7 verse 1 are often cited. A good name is better than fine perfume, and the day of death better than the day of birth. In these communities, abstaining from birthdays is a communal value, woven into everyday life. It's not loss, but discipline, a conscious choice to put faith and humility above personal recognition. Picture someone standing awkwardly at the edge of their own birthday party, eyes darting for an exit. The air feels thick. Every glance, every laugh seems aimed right at them. For many, the idea of everyone singing, watching, waiting for a perfect reaction isn't joy, it's a test. According to the American Psychological Association, 63% of introverts report feeling anxious during self-focused events, like birthdays. That discomfort isn't just in the mind. When the spotlight lands, the body reacts, heart rate climbs, palms sweat, and cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes. Even a simple happy birthday can feel like a performance, with all eyes measuring your response. Some people learn to avoid these moments entirely, skipping the party to spare themselves the rush of nerves. For them, not celebrating isn't about missing out. It's about relief, escaping the pressure of being the center of attention, if only for a day. For some, birthdays are less about cake or candles and more about the quiet tick of time. An older voice might say, "It's not that I dislike my birthday, it's just each year feels heavier." As people reach middle age and beyond, the day can become a subtle reminder of limits, not just milestones. Many adults describe a sense of looking back, measuring what's been done, and what's still left undone. Psychologist Sheldon Solomon calls this mortality salience, the moment when a birthday brings our own impermanence into sharper focus. Instead of celebration, there's reflection, a mental inventory of years past and years ahead. Qualitative research and clinical reports agree. It's common for adults over 40 to feel a gentle wave of existential anxiety as their birthday approaches. The celebration slips quietly into contemplation. The party is replaced by a kind of silent reckoning, where each candle is less about wishes and more about wondering how many are left to count. There are people who skip the party, not out of pain or anxiety, but because they feel at peace without it. Imagine someone who starts the morning with quiet coffee, maybe a walk, maybe a journal entry, nothing public, nothing performative. For them, self-worth doesn't hinge on candles or applause. Kristin Neff's research in 2015 found that adults with strong self-compassion scored 28% lower on approval seeking than others. They don't need a crowd to feel valued. Their sense of worth comes from within. Self-determination theory calls this autonomy, choosing what matters, guided by inner values instead of outside expectation. These are the people who say, "I celebrate myself every day." For them, skipping a birthday isn't neglect or rebellion. It's a quiet confidence, a sign that happiness can exist without a ritual. In their world, validation is an inside job, and every day holds its own small reasons to be grateful. In some circles, skipping a birthday is more than a personal quirk, it's a statement. Imagine a young adult scrolling past endless party ads, choosing instead to spend the day in quiet protest. For them, the ritual feels less like celebration and more like a sales pitch. There's a growing sense that birthdays have become just another opportunity for companies to cash in, with the global birthday industry now topping $49 billion a year. Social feeds fill with gift guides, sponsored posts, and pressure to throw ever bigger parties. Many millennials and Gen Zers describe these expectations as hollow, even performative. Some quietly redirect what they would have spent on decorations or gifts toward charity or personal projects, sharing their choices online, not for applause, but to push back against what they see as forced happiness. For these birthday non-celebrators, not joining in isn't about missing out. It's about reclaiming meaning from a day that feels overrun by marketing. The dinner table that once overflowed with laughter now sits quiet, chairs left empty as friends and relatives drift apart. Over the past 2 decades, U.S. family gatherings have dropped by 35%, according to research from MIT's Sherry Turkle. Instead of long evenings together, connections are often reduced to a quick message or a digital thumbs up. Birthdays, once a reason for everyone to come together, now slip by with a single group text or a social media post. For many, the shrinking of social circles is not just about fewer parties. It's about the loss of witnesses to your life's milestones. The rituals that gave birthdays their meaning fade as the audience disappears. One person recalls scrolling through old photos, counting fewer and fewer faces each year until celebrating feels almost pointless. When the crowd thins, the day can feel like just another page on the calendar, missing the warmth that made it special in the first place. Nearly 29% of adults who avoid birthday celebrations link it to negative childhood memories. According to a 2022 University of Toronto study, we've seen how learned helplessness, time blindness, religious discipline, social anxiety, and consumer fatigue all play a role. The data shows that 63% of introverts feel discomfort in self-focused gatherings, and family celebrations have dropped 35% in the past 2 decades. Yet, not every motive is fully understood. Some people simply never explain their choice, and the private meaning of birthdays often stays unspoken. What is clear? The $49 billion global birthday industry is growing, but more people are quietly redefining what celebration means. As of 2023, private or solo observances are up 22%. The evidence tells us that skipping a birthday is rarely about indifference. It's shaped by history, culture, and changing social ties. In the end, the meaning of a birthday remains personal, shaped by real experience, not just tradition.